Why do all forms of life on Earth eventually die? Who, if anyone, is controlling everything behind the scenes? Today, we're going to uncover the answer. The end of life is death. This is one of the fundamental laws of nature that nothing can escape. Whether animals, plants, or microorganisms, all must face it. Although humans possess high intelligence and can extend lifespan through knowledge and technology, no one throughout history has ever broken free from death to achieve immortality. So what is really behind all of this? Can life ever become immortal? To answer that, we must start with the essence of life itself. At its core, life is a limited form of existence that depends on extremely strict conditions to function. For example, the three essential elements often associated with the emergence of life are oxygen, liquid water, and suitable temperature. While these may sound simple, across the vast Milky Way, Earth appears to be one of the very few places where all three conditions are met. This suggests that life itself is the result of an extraordinary coincidence. Even so, these three factors are only the most basic requirements. Life is inherently fragile. Environmental changes, climate shifts, and food shortages can all bring it to an end. So how can humans break through the limits of life? The pursuit of immortality has always been a dream of humanity, especially for ancient emperors who dedicated their lives to it. While myths often tell stories of people ascending to mortality, these are just legends. With the rise of modern biology and the exploration of the microscopic world, scientists began decoding genes and understanding the basic unit of life, the cell. All living organisms are made of cells. Each cell eventually ages and dies, but new cells are constantly created to sustain life. One key process behind this renewal is cell division. In theory, if cells could divide endlessly, organisms wouldn't suffer from aging. However, once scientists decoded genetic mechanisms, they realized that cells cannot divide indefinitely. Even with sufficient nutrients, each cell has a limit to how many times it can divide. This limit is determined by structures called telomeres at the ends of chromosomes. Each time a cell divides, its telomeres shorten. Over time, they become too short to support further division. In this sense, telomeres act as a biological clock. Unless humanity develops technology to extend telomeres, life will always remain finite. But even this explanation doesn't fully answer why death is inevitable. To understand that, we need to look at a broader scientific principle, entropy. The concept of entropy was first introduced in the 19th century. It describes the degree of disorder in a system. The more chaotic a system is, the higher its entropy. You might wonder, what does a physical concept have to do with life? The key is this: entropy does not spontaneously decrease, it naturally increases. While it can be reduced by doing work on a system without external input, disorder will always grow over time. If we think of living organisms as systems, life depends on maintaining order. Organs must function in coordination, and internal conditions must stay balanced. This means life requires low entropy. At birth, a living system has relatively low entropy and is full of vitality. But over time, entropy increases. The body constantly fights this increase to maintain order. But unfortunately, the rise of entropy is a fundamental law of nature that cannot be fully resisted. For example, when someone gets sick, it reflects a disruption, an increase in disorder within the body. Medical treatment can restore order locally, temporarily reducing entropy in that area. However, this does not stop the overall increase of entropy in the entire system. Eventually, all life succumbs to this process. From this perspective, entropy is the fundamental reason why immortality is impossible. Since the Big Bang, the entropy of the universe has been increasing. From distant galaxies to intelligent life on Earth, nothing can escape this law. Death is the inevitable destination of all life. That said, while we cannot change the laws of the universe, human intelligence continues to push boundaries. Some theories, such as the idea of parallel universes, suggest a possible, though highly speculative, path forward. If other universes exist with different physical laws, and if one of them does not follow the law of increasing entropy, then perhaps immortality could be possible there. But returning to reality, what about natural death? Is it truly painless? After studying 2,000 elderly individuals, scientists uncovered an interesting truth. We all know death is inevitable, but there are many ways to die. One of the most accepted forms is dying of old age, what we call natural death. Surprisingly, only about 2% of people truly die a natural death each year. So what exactly is natural death? It refers to the body gradually failing under normal biological processes, eventually leading to the heart stopping. Deaths caused by accidents, overdose, or delayed treatment do not count as natural death. Over time, the definition of death has evolved. It was once defined as the cessation of breathing, later refined to the stopping of the heart, and now some argue it should be defined as the complete loss of brain activity. This raises another complex question. What is consciousness? Science has not reached a unified conclusion. We only know that consciousness seems closely tied to the brain and disappears when the body dies. To study natural death, scientists analyzed 2,000 elderly individuals suspected of dying naturally. Despite different causes, they found a common pattern. Most died in their sleep. But this doesn't mean everyone who dies is experiencing peaceful sleep. Rather, it means that before death, they gradually entered a state of fading awareness, from clarity to confusion, and finally to complete unconsciousness. This transition appears to be smooth and gradual. Observations suggest that these individuals experienced little pain and remained relatively calm. In this sense, natural death can be understood as a relatively painless way to die. However, achieving such a death is rare. Only about 2% of people experience it.